DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, eSport Management, Windows 10, Omen by HP, and GGBet.
Welcome back to the DreamHack Open. We're coming to you live from the Ahoy Arena in Rotterdam, Netherlands. And if you've just tuned in, well, you've missed the results that, to be honest, we all expected. And Avangard are going to be facing Heroic in the Group A winners match later today to find out who gets a day off tomorrow and sails straight into the semi-finals on Sunday. But right now, we need to find out who's going to be facing FaZY in the Group B winners match. Is it going to be Crazy or is it going to be HAVU? And I don't think you pronounce it like HAVU because they're a Finnish lineup. I think it's more like HAVU.
Yeah, well, we have a crazy match for us right now. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that was good.
That was bad.
No, don't encourage him, Potter.
No.
That was terrible. I do apologize. But yes, FaZY having probably the most one-sided win we've seen so far today. They look really good, 16-1. And I think they're going to, doesn't matter who they're going to be facing off against later on, I think they are still going to be the favorites. But obviously for Crazy and for HAVU, the thing is for HAVU, they are kind of green. They're kind of new to the scene, especially when it comes to playing on land against like better opponents. And for Crazy with the new lineup changes coming in, it's going to be a big question mark how they're going to be performing here.
Absolutely, and I think the most interesting thing for this matchup coming in is both of these lineups are coming in with players who turned into coaches, who turned back into players. So it's Emmy coming in for Crazy's side of things and Saul coming in for HAVU's side of things. Both of these guys were coaches, and now they're players again.
An interesting thing as well, Otto played in HAVU a long time ago alongside Sergey, young Sergey from ENCE.
Okay.
I'm talking like 2 to 3 years back.
Oh, of course, yeah, because Otto, of course, the Finnish representative on Crazy. I'm going to keep singing that until someone appreciates that. Yeah, I'm a 90s baby. Right, okay, let's talk about the map, Vitos.
This is, I think it might just go down to Inferno or Dust2 or Train. I don't see either of these two teams trying to be too adventurous. HAVU usually go for a Mirage ban every single time. So I think Mirage and Overpass are going to get taken out of the picture early on. I don't expect to see a Vertigo or Nuke either. So it's going to be either Train, Inferno or Dust2. And I think all these three maps could make for an interesting game because both the teams are pretty comfortable on these three.
They absolutely are, and I mean, that Dust2, both of these guys have nearly a 90% win rate on that Dust2, so it's going to be curious to see which team is like, I don't want to face your strongest map and vetoes it out, or if we see Dust2 in fact.
But also the caveat over here is the fact that if you look at the voting history, so to say, the vetoing history for Crazy, it's based on the fact when they used to have Hunter and Nexa, and now with these new players coming in, with Emmy coming in, with Chips coming in, it might be a different map pool than from what we're usually used to seeing from these guys.
Definitely so, and okay, so it looks like Mirage and Train are the first banned out, and Crazy are the first to ban out Nuke, which is interesting because Nuke is a map that they are fairly comfortable on. It looks like you're right, they just don't want to take any chances, Sudan.
Yeah, Overpass should be banned out by Crazy. Yeah, there we go. They're going to be going for that, and it looks like it's going to be Dust2. Good old Dust2, and Vince is going to be casting that one. I want to see him tilt off the face of the planet. But yeah, first time seeing Dust2, and I think how we should be happy with this, right? This is a map that they should potentially stand a chance on.
They certainly should, but on the same side of things, I know that Nexa and I know that Hunter are no longer a part of this Crazy lineup, but really Dust2, when I think about Crazy and Dust2, I think about Letny and Esperanto towards that B mid area. Letny with that AWP and his pistol rounds that secure the B bomb site and just hold it and defend it. It's pretty impressive to watch.
Well, Blair, you think this is going to be a close match, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close match. I do have a few reasons. Yeah, go on. Throw it to me.
What?
Give it to me.
I should have trusted you then. You were going so smoothly into it. So I'm just going to hand it back to you, and I'm just going to...
Wow, you made me feel real awkward there. But all right, so I do have two reasons why this game should be a pretty close affair, could be a pretty close affair. Number one being HAVU are a very green team. They have played quite a lot of online CS, but it's been against competition which isn't exactly of a very high caliber, right? So they're kind of green coming in here. It is the first LAN that this particular lineup is going to be playing together. Reason number two will be Crazy with their new lineup. We, of course, have Emmy coming in, the coach. We don't really know how he's going to be really fitting into the team. He's going to be calling, obviously, but firepower, that could be a problem for the lineup. We also have a new player, Ships, joining in. So there's a big question mark how Crazy going to be playing. And number 3 is going to be experience. You cannot take away the fact that Crazy have played the major. They had a very good run. And yes, they might have lost the 2 star players, but they still have Esperanto, they still have Ledney, and these guys can definitely beat beasts. So it's a very 50-50 match, if you ask me. It is going to be kind of really hard to predict here.
I have to agree with you. I do think that this match is going to be the closest affair that we've seen so far.
We say that.
Right. I mean, it's all up in the air, especially because it is Dust 2. And Dust 2 is one of those maps where it gets really tricky. I think the challenging part about Dust 2 is the CT side, the defensive part. If you don't have those protocols, you don't have that foundation in place, it's going to be so challenging to hold that long A and hold the B mid splits that they really need to make sure that they bring their utility game up.
Here's another advantage, I guess, that Crazy have, apart from some really experience on some bigger, more notable lands, is that Emmy used to call, and whenever they were playing online, so Hunter and Nexa, we saw them pass the IGL role between each other earlier this year, especially when they were under the Valiant name. I mean, it's pretty much the same org as Crazy. Don't know why they rebranded, but Emmy has been calling for them for a long time, so they're going to have that structure there already in place. It's just going to be how these newer players fit in, well, newer players, Ships fits into it. And Ships, as part of Windigo, used to play Valiants all the time.
Right, I think as we mentioned, Crazy's not going to have too much of an issue adjusting, right? Emmy used to be their coach and now he's their player. We saw some success with MIBR and Zeus, and I actually really appreciate, especially in the lower tier 2, tier 3 teams, when a coach is very much more involved in making sure that the pieces really fall together so that the teams are able to really put those rounds on the board and somehow, some way get the W's, right? And so I think Emmy coming into this kind of being that, you can see it on the stats as well, off the HAVU side, he has the most flash assists, he has the most assists on that team, and so he's kind of just, these guys are the pieces that are in there that make sure that everything kind of just falls together.
Indeed, and I just wanted to touch upon one very glaring problem for the boys over in Crazy, right? The reason they've always had pretty good runs in big tournaments has been the fact that they have so much firepower. They had so much firepower. So even if, and the biggest problem for these players have been consistency. You'll have a game where Letney is kind of quiet, or you have Otto not really hitting his shots with the AWP, but then you have the Nexa just popping off, or maybe Hunter popping off. And if they have a quiet day, Letney steps up to the plate, right? Now with these 2 new players coming in, Emmy as a coach, no one's really expecting him to really go for heavy fragging or whatnot. Ships, he's done pretty good work in the past, but he's no Hunter, let's be honest, but he's no Hunter, he's no Nexa. So now the pressure's going to be in place like Otto, who when he has a good game, he can have an insane game. But if he's quiet, he's really, really, really quiet, right? So for players like Otto and Letney, they need to be, and Esperanto obviously, they need to be consistency personified if Crazy want to make a deep run here.
And one of the factors I think we saw in Berlin that made them such a threat to those bigger name teams like Astralis was Esperanto finally showing up. Because he was the star of the Imperial last year, and then we saw him kind of struggle to find his form in this team surrounded by Hunter and Nexa. And then suddenly in Berlin, magic happened. The chemistry worked. He showed up.
Absolutely, and consistency is that key of the game. And I am curious to see how Esperanto adjusts, because sometimes when you have players like Hunter and Nexa who are just such loud players in that server who's able to make so many plays happen, sometimes you just got to do your job and that's it, and not overperform. But now Esperanto, Otto, Letney, these are the 3 players that absolutely have to step up to the plate and really evolve their game plan, evolve in the way that they approach it, and be the superstars of this lineup.
Yeah, right now they are the veterans of this particular lineup, right? So they need to make sure that for Ships coming in and for Emmy as an in-game leader, they need to feel comfortable. And on the other hand, we have these boys over from HAVU. Just want to point out one thing, right? I think Zori's obviously the main opera for the team and also the highest rated player. I think it's like a 1.22 rating on HLTV. But again with the caveat that it is all online, right? That's always going to be the factor you have to consider. But then you have Slowy and Dodo, and both of them are pretty handy with the AWP. So coming into Dust 2, I think, we could see a lot of opping action happening, especially on the CT side, so this could really play to their strengths.
Absolutely, and one more thing, we keep mentioning newer teams, younger teams, and these guys are newer and younger teams, but they've been a lineup for quite some time. They just don't have the stage experience, the LAN experience, these open experiences where the competition can be a little bit more stiff and the pressure is on your shoulders. So in that regard, they are certainly a newer team, a younger team, but they've been playing in the MDLs, and they've been playing in that Finnish scene and pretty much putting a lot of upsets on the board.
I'm just curious, though, as to whether Finns do feel that pressure.
Yeah, I don't think they
don't
feel
look
anything.
like it, right?
I don't think they feel anything whatsoever, to be honest. And I think that's a good thing. I just want to point out one quick thing. Even though we've said like they've been playing the online CS, they have taken a couple of pretty notable scalps. They did take on Game of Legion, which has Dennis, you have Drake, and you have Nock and Hampus playing in that line, the Swedish mixed lineup, so to speak. They did have to beat them 2-1 in order to make their presence here in Rotterdam. So it's not like they haven't played against any good teams. They do have a little bit of experience. It's all about nerves. But the DreamHack Opens are the events which give an opportunity to teams like this to really show what they can do on LAN. So I'm going to be disappointed if they don't at least put up a fight here.
So what are we expecting from Dust 2 between these two teams then? We know HAVU have got 3 potential AWPers. I doubt we're going to see a triple AWP though, Blair.
I'd love to see it. I miss the good old days of complete chaotic Counter-Strike, to be honest.
I think Vince would pop his nut if he watched 3 AWPers.
Yeah,
I think it bodes really well for HAVU to have so many snipers. I mean, Dust 2 is very much, it's more so a spawn-based map than any other map that I can think of. That long A control is going to be vital on the T side and on that CT side. So the T's coming in, they're going to utilize their spawns, and having 3 competent oppers with that long A spawn, it's going to bode well for HAVU.
Absolutely. Even if it's just one AWP in the buy, you can just toss it around and just take advantage of those spawns. So yeah, I think that's a very good advantage that HAVU potentially have here.
And I can just see strutting in the background. Is that Neil M's arm? I haven't actually seen his face yet. And I haven't heard him yell yet.
Oh, we will.
No, I don't know if he's here.
He is here.
He's definitely here.
I saw him in the near the catering area, and he was looking pretty hyped. He was pretty ready to go. I think we're going to be hearing him soon.
I just feel like I've seen Neil M in so many places. Neil M for me is like the Chumbawamba of Counter-Strike. He gets knocked down, but he always gets up again, and normally onto someone's shoulders. Right, predictions. Potter, I'll come to you first.
Oh boy, I'm gonna go with HAVU here.
Okay.
I'm going with HAVU. I think CR4ZY are going to be able to slot in Emmy and Ships pretty well, but to me, they're just a younger team than HAVU, and I'm putting a lot of stock on HAVU's side of things right now.
All right, I'm going to go on the other side of the fence. I'm just going to be going in with CR4ZY. I think they have the pedigree. I think they still have pretty good firepower, and also the fact that it is still a LAN tournament, and for HAVU, I'm always going to be like, you might be online gods, but performing on LAN is something. They might really perform today, but we haven't seen them from them so far this year, right? So I'm going to go with CR4ZY and my boys, yeah.
Okay, I am going to go with CR4ZY as well. And I just think that because they're so used to Emmy calling, although Ships is new into that team, I do think the 3 other players, I think when you've got Otto and Esperanto on your team, I think if they have a good match, they can make up for any frags that Emmy doesn't get, even though he hasn't been on an active lineup as a player since November 2018. So I think it's going to be a bit of a tough one. But I think he's got big brain plays.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is what we're going to be considering here. If those 2 plays pop off, I think HAVU is going to have a rough time.
Well, let's find out if the big brains of Twitch agree with myself and Blair or with Potter. Whoop, whoop. There we go.
I love them. I'm disappointed they weren't able to get it 69 like last time, but yeah.
I really want to try and say some Finnish for the Finnish fans in Twitch chat right now, but I always say it wrong, but I'll try. Turile Tavataan. Meet me in the square, Twitch chat. Right, let's head over to our casters. We've got Vince and Dust. Dust literally flew overnight from EPL NA. But Dust, you look really fresh. How many chickens did you sacrifice to the gods to have skin like that?
Wow. I don't know how to answer that. Lots of fish heads instead, Frankie. Lots of fish heads instead.
Lots of fish heads. Oh, of course, yeah. Get me a bucket next time you're coming across the pond to us. And, of course, Vince, also taking the train with me yesterday. How are you doing?
Good, good. It was actually a pretty enjoyable journey. Very relaxing.
It was.
How are you feeling about Dust 2, Vince?
You know, just he loves it, really. You can just emanates from his face.
I feel like on tour, we casted it nearly every match.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's only fitting.
Yeah.
That's how we open our day.
We had to expect it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you guys get to it. Dust, maybe give Vince a massage at halftime if he gets a bit stressed. Enjoy it, lads. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank you so much, Frankie, for passing it on over. Man, I'm excited to get casting. You know, I'll travel side, I don't care. I'm ready to go. Let's go, Vince.
Me too, man. And although Dust 2 may not be the most exciting of maps, Otto is a beast on this map more often than not. They talked about on the desk about his inconsistencies. And typically, when he does fire off on all cylinders, it is Dust 2 where he performs. So I think it's definitely something to watch out for.
Indeed, and he has to, right? Because now that the big stars of this team like Nex and Hunter are gone, Otto was the other guy that was in really good form at the Major, really helped them have that run that they had. So if he can maintain alongside Esperanto, those are going to be the 2 key pieces. And Dust2 is a map that they were doing really well on. The core of this roster were like on a 9-game winning streak on LAN on Dust2 before it broke up with Next and Hunter departing for G2, including beating a Strauss in that crazy multiple overtime game at the Major. So definitely they do have a great track record. For HAVU, they have a great online record, but that's a whole different story. It's a whole different level of competition. And this is really, for a lot of these guys on HAVU, their first time playing an international LAN, right? They've done some finished LANs. They've ultimately been bested by teams like INT and SJ Gaming and things of that nature. So this is their chance to finally translate that online form into a bigger environment.
Absolutely, and this is something that Blair touched on, and is why the game is going to be close segment, is that HAVU are more of a green team. They haven't been around here much. Their experience is low, as you highlighted. So can they make the transition from online kings to actually turning up at LAN? You'd say that Crazy, under normal circumstances, you probably have to win this fairly comfortably, but they've gone through changes too.
Big changes. I mean, you lose your 2 best players, right? I mean, no, that's no knock to anybody else that was on that team, but those guys were the bread and butter of what the Crazy project was, and that is a really big loss. Luckily for them, at least Emmy was the coach of the team, and so coming in as the in-game leader, maybe they won't lose as much tactically as what you sometimes will see when teams lose their in-game leader. But we'll just have to see how it plays out in the server. Obviously, they have not had that many games together since Ships has been on board. And that's the other thing I'm curious to see. How does Ships perform? Because I feel like he was the second star of when to go after Poison. He was that guy at like WESG and stuff in the past where he could be flashed. He could have put up big numbers. So if he can be that, you know, replacement for, let's say, Hunter or Nex or something like that, and actually deliver the same level of fragging that those guys could, it might make the missing of those 2 players, it'll soften the blow a bit.
Sure, I mean, Ships himself has been around quite a bit lately. He was in Gamer Legion at one point, really standing in for them, and then that kind of fell apart, and now here we go again. He's going to get another crack at the whip. So, I mean, he's a very powerful player. We've been looking to see what this guy can deliver for quite a while. Maybe this is his moment to shine.
I want to see if some of these HAVU players can shine too, man. Zori has looked so good with the AWP and all the online competition in the Mountain Dew League and different things like that. I want to see him be able to step up and deliver here. Slowy also is kind of that guy I really want to see. He's a very aggro, flexible rifler. He's going to float around the map a lot. He's going to be given a lot of freedom to try to make individual plays all across the map. So I want to see if he can bring it too, because I feel like those are the 2 guys that HAVU need to be competitive in this map against Crazy with the firepower that they're working with.
What did you make of the Twitch chat then? Going 65% in HAVU's favor. Do you agree with that?
I think at that point, you're just kind of hedging your bets on a team that's least familiar with each other. But you have to understand that even this team has made like a somewhat recent change, right? Dutu or Dotu, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he obviously is a somewhat recent 5th, only coming like in the last 6 or so weeks. So there is a little bit of a shakeup over there on the HAVU side as well. So yeah, I don't know. Like I do kind of think that Bled was spot on, that the pedigree is there for Crazy. They might have more overall firepower, especially in the LAN environment. Like they're more proven in that regard. But yeah, HAVU is the team that has a little bit more track record together as a 5. But we'll have to see how it all shakes down here on old Dust2.
Good old Dust.
Old reliable.
It really is. That being said, HAVU are going to be starting on the T side. Crazy, in the meanwhile, going to have a little bit of utility in the hands of Emmy. And they are moving up long pretty quickly. There's going to be some contact made. Slowy with the P250, trying to tap some heads, but could be on the receiving end if he's not careful. Flash will force back the CT. Second one has also been deployed, and they're still going for these skirmishes. Still trying to get the upper hand. How has no one died just yet? So many health bars are going low, but now the kill's starting to come in, and in the blink of an eye, the round has been put to bed. Crazy take it.
I mean, that round went from 0 to 0 to 0 some more to 100 real fast. I mean, there was so many exchanges there, but no frags going out. It was getting real awkward, but finally you saw 5 frags come out pretty quickly there for the CT side, so they'll go ahead and go up 1. You'll notice right away, by the way, that Ships is just taking Hunter's position as a B rotator. So that is pretty just kind of a natural 1-to-1, allow some of the other players to kind of maintain the spots they're used to try to help with that familiarity with the new team.
Just extinguishing the Molotov so Emmy can take some positioning behind the double doors of Long. This can free up Otto to turn back and go towards A if he is called upon. Esperanto, in the meanwhile, is just chilling out on the CT side. So it seems like it is going to be a little bit slower paced for the time being.
Yeah, there's a little bit of utility and firepower to spin here for HAVU. They're going to be looking to take control of that catwalk area. They do have stairs in their possession. This gives you a lot of options to go for that catwalk crossplay or the mid-B splits. This is what makes that CT rotator really have to guess where he needs to be It's going to be Esperanto for the time being. He decides to lay over towards the A ramp, but this allows that mid-B access here. There is no mid presence right now from Crazy. There is a smoke for spawn as well, so they're going to hammer on the B, can ships, and let me defend.
Esperanto is trying through mid, but it's the smoke in his eyes. It's all down to the Bulgarian, and Ships is doing a ton of damage with the MP9. He's going to run out of bullets, survives a little bit too long. HAVU's going to take a dink from the USP, pardon me, as a result, and now the retake is that much more likely. It is one of the hardest fights in Counter-Strike to retake, but already the health bars are beginning to get depleted out. Otto is biding time while the rest of his teammates make a move through the tunnels. Emmy and Esperanto up to the task, and now they've forced their way outside of B. They realize exactly what's coming up. The roles are reversing. This will be very difficult for Crazy to get their hands on the site with no more grenades remaining. They've already used their flashbang, can tickle the bomb, but down goes Saw. It all falls to Hoodie. Can the Finn stand tall and deliver? No. Crazy will be getting the defuse.
That was really close, though. Emmy came off that bomb a couple of times. He almost killed the clock, but not quite. Emmy, the coach standing in for player, able to help finalize another round here for Crazy. Was a bit dangerous there. Again, that mid-B split so hard to defend, especially if the defense gets split up. You have so many things to be responsible for at once, but they were able to both kind of just focus on the door window push and kind of gamble that no one would be tunnels, and luckily for them, there was no presence there. So another round does go the way of Crazy here early.
Have a little bit of a tech timeout at the moment with Crazy standing 2-0 in the lead. HAVU have some options available to them as a result of the bomb plant. A couple of players could afford rifles, but other than that, Dust, it would be a little bit of a rough ride.
Yeah, it seems really doubtful that that would be coming into play. Seems like he would want to save up and try to get that AWP into Zori's hands immediately. Now, he could actually go glass cannon. He does have basically the exact amount he needs. So that could be something, but I think it's more likely we would see some type of smaller buy and then go for the big one in the next. But that's just going to be up to them whether they want to try to pull a fast one on Crazy, who are still going to be, of course, holding on to a FAMAS SMG, things of that nature. You might want to try to play into it.
Yeah, I feel like on a lot of maps, in this kind of a buy, knowing that Crazy lost a few players in the last round, you may actually just roll the dice and go for the buy. But because of it being Dusty, as you say, prioritizing the AWPs is so vitally important for both sides that, yeah, I feel like tapping out of this would make a little bit more sense.
It's also because Slowy is so low on money. He's at 3,200, and he's like their other big playmaker besides Zori's op. He's the guy that's going to be, you know, helping take control of Catwalk and doing the mid-B pushes through middle, but also sometimes he's going to be the guy pushing B tunnels. He's the one that's a little bit more flexible. Everyone else, you kind of know what roles they're going to play. You know that, Hoodie's usually kind of holding out his long A. Dudu's usually kind of playing towards B, but it's Slowy that I feel like I want to see, what he's going to be made of, because he's the one that, again, is going to be kind of more of the roamer. And I think that you want him to have the best foot forward. So another reason why I think you probably won't see a full buy this round, but don't know just yet.
So something that is definitely at the top of many people's minds when it comes to Crazy is just how good can this roster potentially be. As you said, they've been gutted with 2 of their star players going elsewhere to greener pastures. Do you feel like this team can live up to the hype at what the last major basically proved?
I don't know, man. Nexa and Hunter are really special players. Those are big shoes to fill. I do think that Ships is a guy that at times has shown the ability to have some real talent. So I think he could certainly show up the firepower. But Emmy coming in, that's a tougher one. I'm not even sure if that's a permanent thing or not. I'm sure Emmy might even want to go back to coaching at some point. They could find the right fit elsewhere. But we'll have to see. As we are indeed going to see that full-out buy. Again, Zori had just enough for the AWP, and they're going to be going up really fast up the catwalk.
Not looking to take any prisoners, but they haven't got the initial frag, and now the information has been gathered. Otto with his AUG at range, it's a good flashback. Keeps them at bay behind the box, and that grenade is going to chunk them. Hoodie down to 14. Good Molotov placement, though. Will force away the CTs into a much better avenue of death from Hoodie's perspective. His SG is rattling off. Otto's already fallen down, and there's not much to play with on the retake now.
Nope.
There's only 2 nades in their hands.
Yeah, and that op from Otto is stranded as well. They can't really get back to it. That's a really big problem. You see Emmy trying to get back. Actually, an AUG. My apologies there. He does actually grab it, still staying alive somehow, and actually gets the frag.
Have to go a fair few more. Dotto double peaked. A 1-for-1 may not be good enough for Crazy unless Emmy can get up close and personal. It's going to be down to Slowy. A valiant attempt, but not quite good enough. They're going to be able to pick up the kit. There should be enough time for the defuse. Indeed, they shall. Oh, no, not quite.
Oh, my goodness. There was a kit on the slope, but he got to it just a little bit too slow. Oh, man, that was really, really close, but just not enough. HAVU do sneak that one in. Emmy did such great work on that retake, especially with Auto going down like that. He was able to creep forward with the smoke, kind of use it to his advantage to pick up the AUG, deliver a couple of frags, and I thought it was going to be enough, but apparently not. And now HAVU do want to take attack because they realize that, yeah, we won the round, but we have very, very low money. We lost everyone there. We got to rebuy all our players. Not going to have enough money for an AWP. So they're going to probably have to sacrifice some big rifles to get utility. So you could be seeing, you know, weaker guns in play here. SMGs, maybe even a Galil in the mix. Just to be able to get those nades out.
I was right there alongside you, Dust. I thought they had just enough time for the defuse, but heartbreakingly not the case. And as you say, everyone's dipping in deep. They're pulling out whatever they possibly can. This also is going to be more of a burden to Otto's AWP funds as well going forward. It's going to delay him, especially if they end up conceding this round.
Yeah, so HAVU just opening up default here. Normal positions for pretty much everyone. They do have Slowy, though, in towards the B tunnels, which leads me to believe usually he's kind of a guy that likes to be a big playmaker, so I feel like they want to go back towards B with him in that position instead of Dodo, who normally kind of is more of a lurker when he plays in the B tunnel, so we'll have to see what they decide to do here.
And lack of nades really going to be a hamstringing effect for CR4ZY. They're going to be stacking 3 players over towards the middle to B side, Esperanto up in the scaffolding.
Oh, this is a great read, I think, for CR4ZY. I think they have the right idea of what's going to be happening here. There's still some utility being feinted over towards Catwalk, but you got to feel like this is going to be a mid-B play. And indeed, they do start poking and prodding through those double doors.
Esperanto could be everything in this round for CR4ZY. If he can put that AK to use, the most powerful weapon at their disposal, he's not going to go check that's the bomb in first, and he transitions into a second. Beautiful flashbang tossed in from CR4ZY. And the dream round seems to be falling their way. Dotto not going to be able to wake up. That's going to be a 3-1 lead for CR4ZY. What a way to turn it round.
Yeah, just a good little read there from CR4ZY to have 3 players towards the B side. Esperanto covering the mid portion, allowing the other 2 to be able to just focus up on tunnels. Be able to stop Slowy from being able to be that entry from that position. And now HAVU have finally run dry on funds. It's just going to be upgraded pistols this time around. They're rushing towards B tunnels with 3 players, but Ships has already struck on the Zori. Instant 5-on-4 here for CR4ZY. Not a lot of options here for HAVU. Very limited utility and firepower.
Well, nade has been deployed into middle. Not really doing anything to Ships, just forced him slightly back, but he still has the angle perfectly locked in with the SG. Going to be smoked out. There's the Molotov to deal with it, and a HE to boot. So HAVU, they've thrown in a fair amount of their nades, but they're not really making much room here.
Yeah. They have enough smokes to still go for a cat cross, but the problem is Esperanto's playing up close on these stairs, so they're going to have to push him off first. Utility blocking, delaying the round for just a bit, but the gathering is taking place here behind the smoke. They should be popping soon. Esperanto probably going to try to just find a frag and then get out of there. That nade is going to be juicy. Lots of low health players now for the Pickens.
The tactical nuke has landed. The walking wounded, lumbering their way up Catwalk. Esperanto is pondering what could be coming up against them. It's going to be a Deagle round, delivered first class to his face. That could have HAVU with a bomb plant. There's going to be a fast rotation in, but no one's up on the Catwalk side. So bomb plant at the very least. And sure, there's 3 players that are low, but all things considered, this is almost mission accomplished. Anything at this point is a nice juicy bonus.
There's no utility for this retake. It makes it a lot harder. Got to rely on aim. Luckily, like you said, a lot of players are low, so we just need to find these frags quickly.
Ship's going to town with 2. His SG rumbling and ripping through faces. And there's Otto and Emmy to clean up the rest. But even though HAVU have conceded 4 rounds now, it feels like each and every one of them, barring the pistol, has been so very close.
Indeed, there has been a lot of tight rounds here. This one's a little bit more dominant. CR4ZY only losing 1 player. It was just Esperanto catching a 1-dig to the dome. Everyone else, though, carries over. Now the money still not really there for HAVU, despite another bomb plant. Like, their economy management early in this half, they've gone for a couple of gambles, and they've rolled the snake eyes. And this leaves them with yet another just pistol buy it. We're so deep into this half, it feels like, and we haven't had a real true full buy from them yet, it feels.
This is the downside if you do lose that economic.
I think it all comes back to that moment when Zori, bought the glass can in AWP and they tried to buy around it as much as they could. It's still the ripple effects from that moment not panning out. Just looming over them. Now they're going to go for another mid-B split, but this time it's heavy tunnels, but the mid portion's already been taken care of. But Letney's stranded.
He is alone. M4 in his hands. Good flashbangs being put in. And there's the kill they were looking for. Ships though, beautiful flashbang. Connects into the eyes of all 4 players, but there's no follow-up from Otto. Nowhere near fast enough. So HAVU are taking kills here and there. Otto going to thin the herd that much more. Needs the cavalry to arrive, or perhaps not. He's the one-man wrecking crew with the AK-47. Zori at the back of the site. Just too many angles for him to watch out for. Nice try, but crazy with another defuse.
You just gave Emmy a 6. Now he's going to be able to go Super Saiyan with that, basically. Love getting those free 6 as a CT. Every day you'll take them. At least another bomb plant comes through. It's going to help out their economy a little bit. Now the AWP will finally come back for Zori, and this is where I want to see him stand tall. This is the guy who is the big breadwinner for HAVU in all their Mountain Dew League matches and the qualification process for this tournament and all the online cups they play, and he is the guy that usually is able to deliver. Now he finally gets his chance. He's 1-6 right now. He needs to get involved.
2 incendiaries already planted down on long. Crazy with 4 players on long now going to make a move back onto the site. So that's a fair amount of investment already tossed out in the first 10 seconds.
It's a crazy stack towards A here from Crazy, actually. So if a mid-B came into play quick enough, it could really cause a problem. But we do start seeing Letney kind of drift back that direction. Otto with the AWP holding the close cat angle. It looks like they want to go for an A split, but there is that player up close on long A doors. That could be a real problem if they don't check this side.
Not waiting long enough after the flashbang. We're a bit telegraphed. It's all starting to fall to pieces. The bomb's been dropped down, and Emmy is body bagging everybody. And he hasn't lost a single point of health at 3K. And now Zori with the AWP. Have to try and traipse over his fallen comrades. That was a hell of a shot, but just winged Otto.
Yeah, that's hella unlucky. Like, I thought for sure that was going to land. And now he's in a lot of trouble. He's getting pinched in.
Yeah, he's living on borrowed time. It's only a matter of moments before he gets flanked or peeks on the CT side, and Ships will deal with him. So it seems like Crazy finally getting a stranglehold here over Dust 2.
That's just sloppy spacing on that long A push, man. They made it way too easy for him to play in that corner. The first guy goes out, fair enough, but then the second guy comes out again alone, and that's your bomb carrier. He just steps out. I mean, that's a freebie for Emmy all day long. They've got to do better. If they want to start putting rounds on the board, you've got to be able to use your utility and spacing better. You got to be able to trade more efficiently than that. I mean, it literally couldn't have been easier for Emmy.
Yeah, you expect at least a flashbang before that push comes into play, but it's one of those things that HAVU will think we've been so close in so many rounds. 6-1 probably not fair to them overall. Yeah. Had a lot of bomb defusals on the side of Crazy.
That's what just felt weird, forcing your hand at long A. Like, give your chance to the opper to do something. Like, I feel like Zori didn't really have any time there. Now, it's just kind of another low buy round. Esperanto already finds 2 on that mid push. Now we even have Emmy pushing through long A for information, so Crazy should be well set up to handle anything at this point. Though, there is this weird timing window where Otto could get overwhelmed on this catwalk cross. Luckily, an incendiary will slow it down. And Emmy thinks it's B tunnels, so actually he's kind of way out in position. This might be a problem for Otto. Luckily, he should be able to back off and at least stay alive if worse comes to worst.
Now, Otto did a good job with the Molotov, but now he's just going to be forced down anyway. Just needs to stay alive, and Zori on the cross, one digs him down. The avenue of hope has been navigated down perfectly from HAVU, and now the Finns have a real chance. And the Ships tries to take it away from them. He's got so many kills in this position with the SG, but he's missed a whole bunch of bullets. And he gets punished with his life, courtesy of Saw. And now Zori in a 1v2. With the Desert Eagle, we've seen these kind of situations come up time and time again. The Finns have always been on the receiving end of a battering. SG now plucked up, using it again for CTs, but Letney's aim is true. And Crazy will have a 7-1 lead as a result.
Yeah, that was almost a big opportunity there for HAVU. They kind of caught this weird timing where Emmy decided to flank through long A, and instead of checking mid, he goes all the way around towards B tunnel, so that means Otto is left alone. He doesn't even get a kill on the cross. He goes down very early. bomb comes in, there is some hope, but luckily Letny comes through in the 1 versus 1. Now we finally have another full buy from HAVU, though. Long A spawn here for ZY with AWP, but the utility will force him back.
It's more like the composition of weapon you're expecting. Double AWPs on the side of the CTs. SG's also plucked up. It's such a powerful gun on both sides of the coin. A lot of pros have been, I think it was Shox that actually made a tweet about the SG. When would it be getting a nerf?
I think everyone at this point's waiting for it. I mean, I can't think of anyone who's not on board now, but there is Otto again finding that pick. That flash has just not been effective. That's twice now that he's been flashed off but found the kill on his way out. I feel like almost every opening frag has gone CR4ZY's way this game, man. Like, you're hard-pressed to find many rounds where HAVU even had an edge. It's been very dominant.
This is precisely why I felt like CR4ZY, even though they did lose 2 players, it's kind of a sketchy situation against Otto's AWP.
Yeah, again, he's been on a real tear lately. He's slowly been building on this team as a big fragger, particularly that major run. He performed so well. Seeing it here again today.
Esperanto going to be tested momentarily, or perhaps not. ZY perforating the smoke, takes him out, opens up a bit of business on short. There's good nades being countered, tossed in though from long. And they are burning alive on the trajectory across to the site. Otto did see a head just protruding over the wall, but it's another plant on A. We have been here so many times before. Slight gap in the smoke is going to prove too much for Hoodie to contend with. 2-on-2 now. Dotto peering down on short, has the right idea, just slightly off with the aim, but there comes ZY, and having finally add to their 1 round.
Yeah, shaky one, but they do get it done in the end. He started to worry a bit when that gap of the smoke was there on Cat, and Chips pulled off a frag and got it within striking distance in that retake, but we do see HAVU finally strike gold. 2nd round on the board, but can they build off of it? Because money is quite low. They had to rebuild their firepower for this round on several players, so it makes them very vulnerable here. Otto, though, taking a lot of pressure at long. Esperanto tries to bail him out, but he's the one to fall instead.
And this hit-and-run style of long control not working out for CR4ZY. Now short can start to be pressured and applied down. Otto, unfortunate not to get the outright kill. That grenade could do the rest, though, and indeed it does. Now Chips behind the basket is tearing HAVU apart. ZY joined by Dotto, but only 22 health separates him and his demise. Not a great smoke either. But it likely will be another bomb plant.
Yeah, it will be a plant, but these aren't good enough anymore, Vince. They need to start connecting rounds. They got the last one, but this one doesn't seem like it's going to happen either. Just 1 player left here, looking to hold his ground, but everyone is about to be spilling out here soon.
Oh, he was a step ahead of the flashbang. There are too many players up against him. Damage was inflicted, but nowhere near enough. And another CR4ZY round. Out of all the rounds that CR4ZY have picked up, this is going to be their 6th defuse.
It's really been nice to see how they've absorbed the pressure of these A pushes. I think the biggest thing that we're seeing here is it's like HAVU never really get cat for free, except for like the 1 round that they were able to actually cross in and win. Every other time, it's either like Otto gets a pick and is able to fall back, get a quick 5-on-4. That round, Chips is up close off the back of Otto's op and sprays down a couple. Otto gets a nade frag off of a leg shot. It's just all those exchanges at that short area have gone CR4ZY's way. I feel like that's been the biggest difference in this game.
It does feel like CR4ZY have done a very good job as well of realizing when they've lost the site and giving it up so they can come back that much stronger. Stacking the site to ultimately get the round. Is the spray going to be on Slowy's side? Not quite. Does a bit of damage to ships, though.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's tough because they wanted to go B. Anytime you see Slowy and B-tons, that means they want to do a mid-B split because he is one of those entries, but he's gone down already, and now the plant's fumbled. They're trying to go cat, but they're down so many players already, and it's just getting worse.
As every second passes, another Finn falls down. Hoodie and ZY are all that remains of HAVU. Esperanto has been put down with authority, though, and again, no surprises here. It's a bomb plant on A. And Crazy with the advantage in the retake. 2 ops on the retake could be a little bit rocky. Hoodie, though, playing the off angle to perfection, gets 2 to his name. And those are the hero plays that HAVU desperately require. Otto gonna try and sneak his way through the smoke. May wait for this one to clear. Does have a kit and the Molotov to his name. Hoodie also on for the ace. It may not be required to get into the thick of this one, though, as Otto is going to back away and hold onto his AWP. The economy of Crazy in no shape to throw this gun away.
Really good job there by Hoodie. He's kind of the other guy besides Zori and Slowy that do a lot of the fragging for this team. He's that long A player. This time he decides to hold out on that off angle, as you noted, and just happens to catch those 2 players. Letney, who came out first, just didn't quite check it. So despite the fact that Slowy's had a hard time having impact, he's normally that more aggressive fragger. Hoodie, who's kind of, again, more that anchor towards A, able to make something happen. So a 3rd round on the board here for HAVU. We got a few left to go here in the half. There still is a chance for the Finns to make something of this game. The problem is, though, is that their economy is still oh so fragile. But it is also worth knowing that Crazy's bank accounts aren't looking too sharp either. So this round could really determine the momentum of the rest of the half. Could either be HAVU, you know, really getting on the heels of Crazy, or this is where Crazy could just steam full ahead with double digits heading into the second half.
In terms of the buy itself, HAVU are leaps and bounds ahead of their adversaries.
Yeah. Look at the frag distribution on Crazy. Like, Letney's kind of the one man out with 6 kills, but I think everyone else is between 13 and 11 kills. That's a great distribution.
I will be thinking as well that 8-3 really doesn't paint the full picture of how this map has gone.
Right.
A couple of rounds going slightly different. The roles very much could be reversed. That's what I've got to hold on to.
This might be the first round I've ever seen that Crazy have a worse firepower than HAVU. And, oh, they're trapped by that fire. That was a great little Molotov there, and look at what it's benefited them. They finally have an early advantage in a round.
Maybe just calling the lack of a buy, having to go for those aggressive plays. Esperanto using the pillar just behind the smoke. Hoodie, though, taking the opportunity to just push straight up long. And HAVU, this is going to be very likely their most dominant round win yet.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it all just comes down to that trap that they had. I mean, putting the Molotov up top of the stairwell, it forced the CTs to fight and press forward. If they were to fall back, they would have just taken too much damage. And so that was really well done. This time, Dado coming in big with the hat trick. That's going to be a 4th round for HAVU. Again, Crazy low on money. This is where the Finns can start getting into the mix, Finns. This is where this game can start getting interesting. If Slowy could just come online a bit, I feel like they could really make a good run of this.
Yeah, this really is up for grabs now. With Crazy's economic situation and HAVU seemingly starting to get kills to stick and some great reads, great calls. You said that Molotov on short was huge. They're not going to be able to take away at least the final weapon from Ships. They are going to have at least an M4.
And here you see it right here. This trap behind that fire that couldn't get away, so Dodo able to get a couple of kills. And he just catches Esperanto there on the smoke. That was pretty lucky. Here we go. Zori looking for something through the doors. Not going to quite find it, but no problem. Again, not much in play here for Crazy. Just the 1 M4 on Ships, and it's already gone.
It did go for the gamble stack over towards a 3-1-1 formation, but Ships, the first to fall down, not able to get their hands on it either, are Crazy. And as a result of just having USPs, there's nothing to say for you. May as well go for broke. USP headshot has been connected, but Hoodie with a 4K at the end, cleaning up the ecoed up Crazy.
It's the second 4K he's had here recently. Obviously, that one a little bit easier to come by when it's a lot of USPs. Good utility on that attack, though. I like that. Even though they knew that they were up against an eco, they took the time to do their due diligence when it came to covering off all the angles. But here's the full buy back here from Crazy, though it is a little bit weaker. 1 SMG in play.
Sorry, wasn't far off that op shot either. Must realize the flashbang is a very high possibility that maybe Emmy is just chilling around the corner, and now he's found the answer to that query.
Oh no, this B tunnels push though could be really big. How fast is this flank gonna happen? That's the big question of how this round's going to go. Because they're getting held out on Cat for a pretty long amount of time behind the smoke grenade vents.
Allows Ships to start to move into position with his MP9. Esperanto is going to stay in and lock it in. Ships from range with the MP9 of all weapons is doing the most damage. HAVU not going to be able to get the bomb planted either, as there is a Molotov that's been put down. Slowy is burning alive. Down to 33, back into the embracing arms of Otto. And Hoodie, who's on a bit of a blinder, another 3K to his name, is stuck on the car with only 2 HP remaining, and Otto will put him down.
Yeah, just a big timing there on that flank through B tunnel. Ships with a couple of big kills. Even though he had only an MP9, he had a lot of impact in that round, and that does put Crazy one step closer towards double digits. There is still enough money here for a full buy from HAVU, of course, so it's not going to be an easy one, but they put themselves in that position at least.
Molotov put down just to stop the B push, which, to be fair, HAVU did have 3 players over here, Dust, so maybe we're thinking about the idea.
Again, anytime you see Slowy in this position, it's almost always going to be mid-B. Usually they want Slowy, again, taking that point somewhere. One of the angles of the split he's going to be in charge of, so unless they call some type of audible. The difference is they're smoking B side of middle, not CT spawn, so that's a little bit different. Don't use it for anything just yet, though. They want to engage Catwalk first, but that doesn't mean anything. Although that bomb carry is also up Cat, so maybe they are going to change things up a bit.
Yeah, with the smoke being deployed, it is Esperanto again that's on the scaffolding, so it's going to take a long time for them to rotate up through the B side if this hit comes into play.
I mean, they're almost assuredly going to have to give up the side again. I mean, maybe Otto gets a chance to take one shot at the cross, but then it's just going to be a retake at that point. And then it's all going to come down to the timing of Hoodie, who comes out late long. But that smoke grenade will at least tell them what's going on. That's a nice little smoke.
That's an exquisite smoke.
Oh, absolutely.
They can't do anything. Has to actually move into a more awkward position where Flash is going to have more of an effect just like this. He wants to look at the wall, play the anti-flash. Flashbang has been tossed in from long, from Crazy. Not much time remaining, but HAVU have done the hard work. They're going to get onto the site, and to make it worse for Crazy, have lost their AWPer. Their main linchpin player has been bested. Emmy comes through with a kill. It's a great cost to his health, though. And he is the only player that's making a move from long, through the smoke with 2 kills. Ships and Emmy have been put down and laid to rest. And Esperanto, the last man standing, not for much longer. Hoodie steals it off. 21 kills in the half. We're going to find out if Crazy can continue the onslaught after this short break.
Together we'll go and find a better place. Be strong, we'll go 1,000 miles away. Where the skies are blue and nothing is to say. Running, running, we'll be running. We'll be running, running, we'll be running. Running, running, we'll be running. I can't wait to be there, me and you alone, alone, in a paradise that we can call our own. Oh, we'll be running, running, running away. Together we'll go and find a better place, place. Be strong, we'll go 1,000 miles away.
Crazy may lead by 9-6 on Dust 2, but HAVU were always in it. At one point, it was 7-1 in their favor, and yet here we are. This pistol could very much turn the tides of how this may end up.
Yeah, HAVU did a great job recovering that half and at least making this game competitive. One of the most competitive we've seen all day. It's been a lot of one-sided games so far in this group stage, but this one seems like it might just deliver. Hoodie in a great position. He's been fragging real well, as we'll see if he can continue it on. Oh, later. Goodbye.
He's still in there as well. He's got Julies alongside him. Dotto feels 2 guns are better than 1. Can't really fault that logic. And meanwhile, Ships with a Molotov kill. That's going to be all she wrote. Crazy can see the second pistol. And as you say, Hoodie has been on some fine form. It really seemed like he stood up to stellar form towards the end of the first half. He was quite quiet at the beginning.
Yeah. Crazy answering the age-old question, will it blend? Yes, it will. Especially when Hoodie and some dualies are on the opposite side of that tunnel. So a great chance for HAVU here to tie things up, as it is going to be no real investment from Crazy into this round. Looking to fully buy in the next.
Esperanto picking shrapnel out of his shins. Takes 60 health away from him. Going to be peeking mid, which may not be the greatest of ideas. The scout is peering up there. No nades left as well, Dust. I mean, Crazy. They're just going to have to try and pivot off one of these deagles, really.
Absolutely. I mean, that's all you can really hope for in a round like this, is hoping that one of these deagles finds something. Esperanto, of course, watching for a long A push, hoping that he's going to be the one to create the opening. But no one willing on the HAVU side to give that over. Other deagle here on Ships towards middle, but again, no one's really giving him an opportunity. Finally, they do, but he's the one receiving the blow instead. That scout is slowly getting in. I feel like he's the one heavy hitter for HAVU that hasn't come online yet. If he does, that could be a difference maker. But Hoodie certainly has really been there when they've needed him. Could see a little jump cross going on here, maybe. Maybe a double jump cross.
Throw Emmy to the lines first. He's one of the players with a Glock, and Otto puts the bullet between the eyes of Saw. Hoodie's also gone down. Player advantage for the T's.
Oh, this timing from Ships could be epic. He could be the insurance posse of this round, Vince.
His position is twofold. One, to stop players going catwalk, and second, he can make a move up through CT if they call. They've seen all the CTs. Dotto with the AUG is coming up. Does get the 1, but Zori is down to 3 HP. It's going to be on Otto's shoulders. Lots of damage has been inflicted. They're both so low. Combined with the 11 HP, but HAVU, it's their turn to get all the defuses.
Yeah, skin of their teeth to do it, though. Let's be real. That was dangerously close to being stolen away. Should not be taking that much damage in a round where it's just a couple of deagles and a P250. But they win the round nonetheless, and now they're 1 round closer towards tying this game up 9-all. But here comes the full buy from Crazy, including Otto with the AWP. Otto here looking for the cross at mid, gonna get the damage on to Dotto. And now he heads over towards B tunnels. You'll notice throughout this game that Otto is a very B tunnels heavy opper. So we'll see what he finds over here at this round. But this time it's just gonna be Emmy lining up 2 for 1, it looked like, with that AK. Not quite sure, it was fast nonetheless.
It was. A 2 for 1, and this goes back to how brutal that tag was. I don't think Dotto dies unless he gets tagged by the ball.
Absolutely.
He got hit in the leg.
And that's the round. They have to save these 3 weapons. The economy's not there, and that's gonna put a stop to HAVU's, desire for a tie. They're gonna have to wait a little bit longer now. Dude, Emmy's actually impressed me this game. I mean, for a guy who has not really played a LAN match in quite a long time, as he was serving as the coach for this team, has actually came to play today. Just put up some numbers.
Yeah, definitely got to give respect. Plus the fact that Crazy, obviously with Ships into the roster, he's been having his moments too. And HAVU going to be able to save their 3 weapons at the end of the round. Includes an AWP for Mass and an MP9. With those saved guns, could very well buy behind it. Dotto 2.7k, Hoodie 2.4.
Yeah, Emmy's last match on LAN was back in March of this year with Valiant. So it has been a very long time since he's had to step up, and look at him, 15 kills. Actually very close to top fragging on this team. He's right behind Ships.
Here comes the push. It's Esperanto. He's tried this a couple of times to no avail. Last time it was the HE that stopped him. This time it was the smoke that separated him from the rest of his team. He just went out by himself, ultimately.
Mid B is in the cards here. It seems like a pop flash will allow the terrorists to come through, looking to smoke off CT. There it is. Saul, though, might look to try to chance his way through with the MP9.
Slowly gonna swing, and this time connect, and that's the bomb. The bomb's gone down, and Hoodie's here alongside him. This could be the moment, this could be the play. HAVU 2 on 4. Zori is using the smoke to his advantage, just biding his time, waiting for the rest of his team to get in position. There's a Molotov been put down, but he comes out with the AWP frag. HAVU back to their best.
Really well done there on the defense on that mid B split. Zori and company inside the site itself, holding firm, and now again they have that chance to tie this game up now. That was disgusting. That scout shot there from Slowy. And we talked about how he's been a little bit quiet this game, but that was a nice shot. Maybe that finally gets some confidence in him.
1-for-1 trade, not the end of the world if you're crazy, but that is an AWP that's dropped down. They can trade that out to Hoodie.
Yep. That's a good one, though, from Letney. Gets the advantage right back, puts the smoke up. Zori looking to get around it, though, and he evens it right back up. It's tit for tat so far this round, Vince. Down to the wire, and looks like Crazy still with a lot of time left. They're looking to barrel into B.
Yeah, typically blow for blow would favor the T's, but they have no more grenades to play with. That's a beautifully timed flashbang. In the eyes of all three of them, they're going to have to turn away. So this is going to come down to raw entry fragging power now from Crazy.
Yeah, this really is going to come down to whether or not Otto can find something to say AWP. He might get a chance, as Zori is indeed kind of engaging middle, so there could be a duel that breaks out there. That could be one of the ways that this round gets decided, but Zori actually holding a more passive angle just for the cat cross for now, so it's not going to come into play just yet. The second op on Hoodie, by the way, is indeed watching along a corner. There's no pop flash to push him off, so if he holds that angle and keeps it, and there is an engagement there, he could be in for a frag, but also Zori could be one for here at the cat cross.
Oh, the timing. Pure timing could be HAVU's Achilles heel.
How long does Hoodie hold this angle? Because there's like a world where they just slowly walk up cat, never make any noise because there's no utility, and then they get a sneaky little frag on him.
This is so brutal for HAVU. And you can see that Hoodie is still looking at the doors. He has no idea. They're going to go for the run boost anyway, just to make sure. But now they're going to start to find out, well, hold on a second. A's basically clear. Now Hoodie's making a move. Now he's getting into position. But an SG round drills through his head. Oh, the timing, Dust. That is so rough.
Well, I mean, if you're Hoodie, you're thinking, surely I hear a flashbang or something whenever they start crossing catwalk, or a smoke, anything, any type of alert that they would be coming towards that site, but nothing there. It's actually one of the few times where not having utility actually played to your advantage.
Otto going to be in a duel to the death with Zori, but he is cheating. He has backup in the form of Emmy, not required though. I don't think Zori saw both of them, so this puts Dotto into a false sense of security perhaps. He's Molotoving the back boxes. He does have a kit, but he doesn't have time, and he needs to get out of there. An SG on the CT side is huge. You do not want to lose that.
We're going to get the AWP
that's
instead.
even better.
Yeah, that's, well, debatable, to be fair, but no, he'll definitely carry the AWP over. You know, to get that over to Zori, you'd have to imagine. Money is a little bit low there on the CT side, so they have to kind of make some decisions here. Neil Lim, of course, looking to engage here in this timeout, coming in to coach as Emmy went to play. Obviously, he's got a little bit of history with Esperanto. They had some success together in the DreamHack Open circuit with Imperial. I think it was, what, they won DreamHack Summer last year, if I'm not mistaken, against North? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's right.
I believe so. And I feel like the money was just too low. $1,400 Hoodie had, so they're going to decide to force buy behind the AWP. This is a scary prospect, though. And again, Otto nails a shot through the doors. This time it's Hoodie, it's not Dotto. But the same result could be coming to the forefront. And Zori decides, look, I've got to try and play aggro here. I've got to try and make a play. This time I think the timing actually favored him. He's about to get peeked by 2 players. Oh, it's that same Molotov that we saw earlier. HG on top of it. Zori's been obliterated down to 44.
Able to get away, though, and now they actually swap. Falcon's Law does dictate, but even though they have to do this, and it's actually totally fine, right? Zori is the one that's normally opping anyway. It's kind of default here from Crazy. You're starting to figure out like how they set up the team now. You know, essentially they've had Emmy kind of just take over Nexus spot at long A, and they have Ships playing a lot of B tunnels, which means that Otto's opping there less, as he looks like he wants to be engaging up Catwalk here soon, but some utility will actually force him back. That's a well-timed incendiary. Letney actually separated from his team because of it. Now it's mid B in the cards.
They do have a crossfire established. This time if they go without any nades, it will be curtains. They fended off the CT side, but there's still two of them there. The UMP is ripping and shredding for 4 kills. Dotto connects onto all the heads, and now Ships 1 on 4. They needed a hero play, and my goodness, did Dotto deliver. He's on for the ace, and he's picked it up with the AK. Exquisite work.
Man, that's just one of those bait and switch setups you're not expecting. You know, at most you're thinking maybe there's one CT spawn, maybe one person watching the outside B play, but instead it was 2. It's the UMP tucked into the corner, and he says you're out with that. The quad kill, he upgrades and then finishes things off. That's a great play. That gets them, again, 1 away from Crazy. They've been in this position, though, several times throughout this second half, and they've never been able to connect the dots to actually get the full-on tie. But something tells me it's going to be a little bit easier this time, as Crazy have a lot less to work with. Just the upgraded pistols and a bit of utility on Esperanto.
We have been in these situations in prior rounds. They cannot take this for granted. Flashbang in. Lots of damage. I have no idea how none of those Crazy players fell. It looked like you get 2 of them.
Yeah, definitely going to be softened targets, though, for the future. So still did a lot of work there. There is another smoke here for CT spawn. That crossfire can come into play again, though. A pop flash can allow Saul to peek in a little bit. Not spotting anything, though. They haven't committed just yet. Now Dotto will reinforce.
Two smokes and 2 flashbangs. 1 flash has just been tossed out. Letney's going to stay in position with his CZ. Gets hunted, and he's got the bomb. He's the bomb carrier. That should be the round following.
He got stuck in that corner, couldn't get away. The smoke separating him from his teammates, and unfortunately, as you said, he was the one that had the bomb in hand, so it makes it all the worse. And this should be HAVU chalking this one up. It would take a miracle now for Crazy to break through. They're all stuck on the other side of the door away from this bomb. There's plenty of CTs here guarding.
It's always going to have to be an aggressive play, but was never going to work out on the side of Crazy. We are tied up at 11-11, and Crazy's economy is in the bin.
Indeed it is. This is where finally HAVU might be able to surpass their opponent. They've been trailing the whole game. They've had a couple of chances at a tie they missed, but now they finally have made it. Doesn't matter how it starts, it matters how it finishes, Vince, and there is still that chance here for the Finns to pull off the upset. This would be maybe the biggest best of 3, or excuse me, best of 1 that they've won, to be honest, right? Like most of their LAN play has been only within Finland. Bulk of their play in general has mostly just been smaller online tournaments, so this would be massive. Yeah, obviously it's a vulnerable Crazy because of the roster changes, but there's still a lot of talent on this team, and Dust2, again, they were coming into this with like a 9-game winning streak, including being the best team in the world, the Stralas, so this is looking real good for HAVU.
Yeah, typically Otto's playground, but he hasn't had quite the level of impact that we're anticipating.
Right.
He's done a lot of damage through the doors, but other than that, not much to speak of on this T side.
Yeah, that's very true. Again, he's kind of playing the map differently. I'm used to him being like a very B tunnels heavy opera, but they've been using him a lot more towards mid and other areas, which is normal, but again, as you said, he's not really been able to do much other than damage.
So a bit of a throwaway round as Crazy look to try and break the hearts of HAVU once again. P250s, that's about it, really. Not even a Desert Eagle to try and land some long-range one-taps. And that nade looked like it would be much worse than it actually was.
Yeah, they're going to do the double run cross again, or maybe just one. Either way, they're trying to see if they can bait out some shots and let them get through, but they actually want to missing that opportunity.
That was a rough look. That's a good Molotov that's been planted down. If they want to get onto the site, they're going to have to run through the sea of fire. There's another one put down. And a pretty comfortable round in the end, although slowly will be wiping the sweat from his brow because once he missed that shot, he did take a couple of dinks from those long-range Glocks. But everyone survives.
HAVU might just do it, man. They're really piecing together an ICT side here in this second half. They've only given up a couple of rounds, and they came very early. They're on a 3-round winning streak now. Again, right as we get to this stretch, they've surpassed their opponent. Really seeing some great stuff, particularly out of Hoodie and Dotto. So while Slowy hasn't been kind of his normal self, some others haven't been able to step up and fill his shoes in this game. Limited utility again from Crazy then. I mean, they had the op and the rifles, but they don't have much for the execute.
They don't. You mentioned Dotto. He did get tagged again by Otto through the double doors, down to 29 health.
Smoke out on the B side of middle rather than the CT spawn side. They could use that to try to sneak out and poke and prod into CT directly. But as of right now, they haven't really done a whole lot. Slowy going into ships there with the AWP. So again, Crazy already had limited utility, and what they have used hasn't really gotten them anywhere. Now Hoodie pressed up close on Long's found a kill, but that's a nice one from Otto. Hello, and then goodbye. Esperanto comes out as well.
Oh, it's a big miss. That could cost them so dearly. That's a kill that Zoro has to get, but fortunately for him, Saw at least will return fire and return the favor. MP9 in hand, 3 players, oh so low. Esperanto with a run boost across and slowly connects onto him mid-air. That must have been a sensational shot he's just plucked out. Otto misses his chance and HAVU goes 13-11 in the lead. I would love to see that from Slowly's perspective.
I'm sure we will. Man, oh man, he's out there playing duck hunt now, and he's laughing after something like that. Aggressive B-Tunnels push gets him 1 kill. Okay, bro. Wasn't there that one map that was like a surf map where it was you would op people? I can't remember what that was called, but it's almost like he was playing that instead of Dust 2 there for a moment.
The thing is, he was almost anticipating. That's such sick clarity of mind at this sort of stage in a map. And again, a green team on land. They're going to have to decide to push through with a Molotov into almost certain death. Otto does get 2, but unfortunately, one of them is his teammate. And now he's
that is the worst kind of 2 for one. It's not a whole lot. That is a yellow keyboard, by the way. That is real yellow. That's like mustard yellow.
James is loving that. James Bardolph. Massive keyboard collection.
Yeah.
So can HAVU bounce back at this stage?
I think the answer's already yes. Like they're well out in front at this point. The pressure's on Crazy now, man. They have a goodbye here, but if this doesn't work out, they're gonna have a way worse time when HAVU goes for the W. So they need to make this round work. They need to go for some type of play, I feel like. They've been really just playing default and kind of getting picked apart. They've never really found the openings. The individual play has not been there. But that's a big one. They get Slowy, but the trade is right there from Zori. But Long A has been taken.
Not entirely sure what happened with Hoodie. Did he pull a nade out? Because he got completely caught from that push, maybe not anticipating more players to be behind him. And now Crazy have a great opportunity to get back onto the site here, try and take some of that economy away, which is starting to boom on HAVU's side. Saw spinning around, trying to turret his way into a 15th, but finally too many enemies for him to contend with. Zori takes initiative through the smoke, and had Otto have not been there, it could have been a complete catastrophe. But it looks like Crazy aren't done just yet.
No, they aren't. Esperanto coming up huge there at Long A, getting a couple of really big kills. The first one was just kind of a risky play from Slowy that gets punished, but the second one was just good play from Esperanto. Decides the round by himself, essentially. Again, he's the guy you feel like this team needs more now than ever. He was that guy that had that high skill ceiling, could drop these games where he'd have 30+ kills and look like a monster, but it felt like Nex and Hunter were those more reliable stars for Crazy. But now that they're gone, he's needed now more than ever. He's had a quiet game overall, if we're honest, but that was a big play. That could be the spark that they need to get back into this. Again, Slowy kind of gives up one there, but that is just such a crazy push from Esperanto that could not be anticipated.
Yeah, fair enough. I saw that from Hoodie's perspective when we just switched to him, but now having seen that from the replay, it makes perfect sense. It's not something you expect to be coming up against you, especially when he has the
Interesting. Interesting booster with his smoke, Vince. Unfortunately, he's not going to find it. Otto instead. He's so unfortunate. He was playing the low angle, not up high.
It's a huge pick again. In the dying embers of Dust 2, CR4ZY have had a second wind. Trying to cruise their way into a potential comeback. At one point, they were 7-1 in the lead. Now they trail. Saw trying to make a move back to the site. There's Molotovs and flashes there to greet him. Dotto's still stuck in the CT side. Now the CT's trying to rummage together some frags, but it's going to go the way of the terrorists. 3 kills in quick succession, and Slowy, try as he may, has the AWP, and he's all the way over on the B side. It's going to be another one to CR4ZY. Now breathing down the necks of the Finns.
And now you have to wonder, is the mental composure going to be there for HAVU? Again, they're not used to being in these situations at an international LAN environment. They had the lead. If they could have won that 14-11 round, they'd probably win the game. The money was so low on CR4ZY, but then they just don't make it happen. Esperanto with the big play, and now they capitalize with a round that's almost a team ace. It's going to go to 13 for CR4ZY. It just felt like HAVU were trying to take those fights. They felt like they had CR4ZY trapped inside the smokes. They wanted to take the duels then and there rather than letting CR4ZY get into the site and kind of fighting them on the platform, and it wound up costing them dearly. Almost everyone from CR4ZY getting entries from that point forward. Oh, Otto actually loses the op. So that is one less gun carried over, but I mean, the money for HAVU is the one that's really what you have to worry about. There's certainly enough money to buy in this round. But if CR4ZY can get the 14, HAVU gets in this situation where they might be force buying for the rest of the game. So this is a big round. Double op's gonna be in play.
That drop top, though, could end up catching up to CR4ZY if they win this round, but it's at the great cost. Could start to become more of a nuisance because their economy is starting to get towards the last few threads. Some early nade damage has been prevalent, but nothing that's really gonna dictate the way this round comes down.
It's kind of another slow default opening here from CR4ZY. Some utility being exchanged over here towards middle. Zori, though, posted up, trying to catch him on crossing. He does spot it, but can't land the shot. Maybe some damage being there, though. Letting Esperanto are a little bit lower than full. They just want to explode on catwalk here very soon, Vince. There's just one player here slow with the AWP. He's done a lot of utility damage, though.
A brutal grenade, but HAVU have depleted most of their utility. They only have one smoke remaining. And that's on Hoodie, who's on long at the moment, so not in the perfect position to utilize it through mid or maybe on the catwalk side. And so Slowy is going to go for a peek. The smoke's out. He knows his play is here. Lands the headshot onto Otto partially through the wall. 35 seconds remain. Now the rest of the CTs can start to choke and constrict their way back onto the site. Zori with a USP of all weapons is going to chip in for a kill. A lot of nade damage inflicted, and now CR4ZY going to start to collect on the work that they've done. Emmy comes in with another one, but he's now on a 1-on-2, and he doesn't have control of the bomb. It is tantalizing close to his hands, but there's 2 players down here. If he picks it up, it's so unlikely he escapes, and it will be his tomb. Dotto gets the final frag. HAVU 2 match points.
Yeah, you felt like CR4ZY had a chance. Esperanto was teeing off with the AWP there for a bit, but nonetheless, it is HAVU who come in and put this team to map point here. Put themselves in that winner's best of 1 a little bit later for a shot at direct seed to the playoffs. You'll be putting CR4ZY down into that lower bracket right away. This would be a very sizable upset, in my opinion.
Esperanto trying to catch Hoodie out again. This time it hasn't quite paid off for him. Down to 42.
Hoodie's got him in the game, man. He's at 30 kills already. Could find more. Depends on how this round goes. But we do see Otto's already made his way out mid with Letny. They haven't used any utility yet either. There is a B tunnels presence, though, here from Slowy, who's pushed up with the AWP. He might catch Esperanto and be able to control B tunnels, and that would really make it hard on CR4ZY. All their attack will be coming through mid at that point. And there it is. Now they're in a lot of trouble.
They're going to execute straight behind this. They're not going to wait around for any response. And Slowy taking the AWP, putting it up close. No scope, but actually connecting another shot onto Emmy, who Dotto will finish off. And it will be victory to HAVU. Welcome to land.
Oh my goodness, man. Again, prior to this, all their land play had been pretty much against other Finnish teams. There's not a lot of experience there, but they come up big. Remember, they were down 7-1 at one point. They had to grind their way back into the game. There was many moments where, you know, they were so close to time but couldn't quite do it, and they finally do, and then they ultimately win the game. So again, maybe not the start they wanted, maybe a lot of struggles throughout, but they still get the victory, and that's what matters most, man. Particularly tip your hat to Hoodie. He had a hell of a game.
Absolutely insane performances individually, even when a couple players didn't quite show up as we're expecting. But that's enough from us on the casting desk. We're going to head over to Frankie and the analysts.
Well, I mean, it's always a statement of intent when you open up your second half by picking the Julies in a pistol round, and then Doto. Oh my God. I'm still kind of a little bit in shock. That ace on the B side, everything, there's so much to talk about here. But first of all, what we need to do is just clap Potter, because I mean, you were clapping yourself, and I feel like we need to clap you.
I was clapping because I love these types of matches. I love the showcasing that HAVU had on this. Although, as Dust mentioned, they were down 7-1 in that first half. They were completely within that game. The grasp was right there. They kept the money so low the entire duration of that half. Although they were up 7-1, the score was 8-2. They already had to force an eco. So that was exactly the game plan from HAVU, coming in, just chipping away at the economy, getting frags here and there, keeping it close, maybe not on the scoreboard side of things, but certainly in the economy game. So this was just beautiful from HAVU.
Absolutely, and once you figure out that short control was a little lacking coming in for the crazy side, they kept abusing that time and time again. Yes, Auto did manage to get a couple of opening picks earlier on. That flashback towards Cat wasn't exactly perfect, but they kept abusing it. And sure, sometimes the retakes did go the way of crazy, but the way they were able to adapt on the fly in that particular half, it looked like a much more experienced team than someone playing probably the first LAN ever as a unit.
For sure, and the adapting part of it, I mean, they were able to gain 10 plants on the first half out of 15 rounds, 10 post-plant scenarios. And although in the beginning it wasn't going HAVU's way, they consistently kept to their game plan. They kept getting into those post-plant scenarios, and one way or another, sooner or later, those are small adjustments in positioning and post-plants is so much easier than trying to adjust to get the bomb down.
And so, I just have to touch on Hoodie as well. I mean, he was so instrumental in them getting those bomb plants and also winning those post-plant situations. The number of 4Ks he got. Yeah, he didn't get an ace. Obviously, it was the Slowy and the Dodo show on the second half. But the first half was, he had 21 or 22 kills in one half. That is such an impressive performance coming out from him.
It was really the Dodo and Hoodie show on this HAVU side of things towards that B and middle split. You mentioned the dualies coming out, and it was beautiful to watch, but really it was Hoodie in the back of the B plat that was just drawing the aggro, and it allowed Dodo to be in that forward position with the dualies and get those kills. And you consistently saw those types of setups, those crossfires coming out of HAVU. Even towards middle, we saw Hoodie and Dodo once again allowing Dodo to get that ace, and they did really well working off each other, working off their aggression off each other, and getting the kills.
Well, let's have a chat to a member of HAVU now. We have got Slowy waiting for us in the interview area. First of all, Slowy, congratulations. And second of all, I want to talk to you about that comeback even in that first half. It was noted you kept going up, Cat, even though it wasn't always going your way, taking a few losses, but you noticed there was a vulnerability there from Crazy's side.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, but I mean, it's like our first LAN experience with the current lineup, so it's the first international LAN for us, and we were really nervous in the beginning of the game. I mean, we had trust in our city side, so we didn't really care if we were losing on the T side some pretty easy rounds and giving out easy entries, but in the end it worked out fine.
I've got a question for you. It shows clearly in the stats that you guys really prioritize the utility. You guys had so many flashbang assists on your side of things. Is that something that you put a lot of emphasis on, or is that just naturally you guys helping each other out?
I think it's more like naturally, but I mean, it's our in-game leader Saw's game style more or less. It's his game plan that we are running, and that pretty much it pretty much needs the utility usage for the work, you know.
Coming into this tournament, obviously you guys are, like you just mentioned yourself, it is your first LAN as a unit, and at the same time, you know, coming into this event, most people will be looking at the Avantgarde, the CIS teams, and even Heroic as favorites, right? For you guys, what are you going to be happy with? Like just making out of the playoffs, or are you really going to be going for, you know, the big win, just getting the first place in the event?
I mean, we are probably pretty happy if we can get through to the playoffs. So top two finish in the group stage, and we'll be happy.
As you mentioned, it was a bit of a slower start for you guys coming into this. At one point, you were down 7-1. But at that point, is anyone in your team communicating to each other that, hey, we're right there, their money's going to be low, we just need that one round win to convert, to go on a spree?
Yeah, I mean, our coach, Disturbed, was telling us all the time that, I mean, you're getting close, but you're giving away too many entries. And, I mean, yeah, we didn't let it get in our heads that we were losing 7-1. I mean, we have a great trust in our Dust 2, so, yeah.
Going later on today, you are going to be facing off against Force. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, we have watched a lot of Force playing in the majors and such, so we are pretty confident.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Slowey. Congratulations. We're going to be seeing you playing in that best of one against Force at the end of the day. What do you make of that then? Do you think for HAVU it's going to be as close a matchup there?
I do think so. I was really impressed with the way they were playing. Like I said, even though it was 7-1 down, they never really lost track of their game plan, so to speak, right? They kept abusing the little flaws they found in Crazy. I want to talk a little bit about Crazy as well. I think Crazy kind of, we mentioned this while we were sitting in the green room as well. It felt like they got into their heads at one point and started like a little too loosey-goosey. They weren't able to adapt. The moment that they were getting abused towards a short area when they were on the CT side, they really didn't try to mix things up and make it work for them. They were playing retake time and time again, and that is a worrying factor for the team going, further down in the tournament.
It definitely is, and we spoke about on Dust 2, the CT side of things, being a little bit more challenging, making sure that your defensive side units are cohesive. They are very spread out when your players are all the way towards B and most of them all the way towards long. It's a huge opening for the attackers to be able to capitalize on, and that's exactly what we saw HAVU towards that mid, towards that cat, and there was no defenders on Esperanto's side of things.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be curious to see how their map pool plays out, regardless of whether they go through today or they have to fight their way through tomorrow, because we're definitely going to see them play a best of 3 at some point. But right now, we have got to take a break, because when we come back, we're going to have our Group A winners match, and it's going to be Heroic versus our front runners, Avangard. So don't go anywhere.